Republicans are just trying to make it really hard for minorities to vote.
Why do they do
What?
that?
Because they hate black people. They
What?
hate black people and they're racist.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
Generally, the history of racism, like we say we fixed it, but
What?
the system was basically built from the ground up in racism.
You are the racism. You are the racism.
Do you think voter ID laws are racist?
I think so.
Most of the motivation behind them being put into place is rooted in racism.
I think voter ID laws are inherently discriminatory. When you look, the vast majority of people who do not currently have IDs are people of color.
Do you have an ID?
Absolutely.
What?
Can you show us?
Why do you just assume black people don't have IDs? We have IDs. What are you talking about?
What do you have to say to all the people that say black Americans can't get voter ID?
I don't even know why they would say that. We can get the same things that every other American can get. That doesn't even make sense to me.
Republicans are just trying to make it really hard for minorities to vote.
Why do they do
What?
that?
Because they hate black people. They hate
What?
black people and they're racist.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, y'all. Every day. And y'all see me. Y'all see me right now. I'm not making this up. I'm not pulling something out of thin air. These are these students who are saying black people can't get IDs. Republicans hate black people, as if a black person can't be a Republican. I'm not making this up, y'all. Y'all see the same thing I'm seeing.
The black population is like historically much more financially like disadvantaged.
Today we can sometimes see that sort of continuation of racism through our voting system in like education and things like that, and typically people who are less educated are less likely to vote.
You're disproportionately making people who don't have IDs, which are usually people of color, have to go out and pay to vote, which is going to disencourage a lot of those people from voting.
Do you have an ID?
Bro, y'all are racist, bro. We have a bunch of white, like these young liberal white people who are just openly racist. And even if it costs money to get an ID, let's look how much it costs. How much does it cost to get a state ID? In general, you can expect a state ID to be cost anywhere between $10 to $50. You think black people are so broke? You think we are so poor, so destitute that we can't afford a $10 to $50 ID? You think we are so piss poor that we can't afford a $10 to $50 ID? An ID is something that we use everywhere in day-to-day life, a driver's license. You think we can't afford something that is critical to our existence as an American? That's $50 at most?
ID?
I do,
Can you show us your ID?
for sure.
What would you say to all the people that say black Americans can't get voter ID?
Seek help. I mean, in America, the legacy of white supremacy, of perpetuating negative stereotypes for black and brown bodies.
Yes.
That's why they would think like that, but it's 2023, man, almost 2024. It's time to seek help for that.
So do you think voter ID laws suppress the African American vote?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
they might like require like a specific type of ID, like when I had to get a new passport, it was like over $100, so that definitely also like roots out the lower classes like in general.
And here's my thing, y'all. And this is for if any liberals are watching this or any people who are not conservative are watching this, or even if you are conservative, this is the problem that a lot of African Americans have. When you have this liberal belief and you want everyone to be equal, but you also simultaneously share these ideals that black people can't get IDs, black people can't vote, black people can't do this, you're not helping. You're not helping. You're making it worse. Because you're supposed to believe that we're equal. That's what liberation is, right? Everyone's equal. Everyone has the perfect opportunity. But in the same breath, you're stating that black people don't have the ability to get the at most $50 ID. And you think that having an ID to vote, even though they have to prove that you're an American, is somehow attacking black people. How? That belief in itself is racist because it implies that we aren't capable, either we aren't financially affluent enough to afford a $10 ID, or we're just not smart enough to get an ID. Either or is equally bad. And having that belief is racist. It is racist. It is racist. I hope I'm communicating this well enough, and I hope I change some perspectives.
They're gonna want to vote if they have to go spend all that money to be able to do so.
A lot of minorities are suffering from poverty. When you make people pay money to get IDs, a lot of times people just won't vote. They won't think it's worth it. They don't have the extra money to spend, you know? Yeah, they're not going to put like the couple dollars that they have into voting for somebody who's probably not even going to help them out.
Do you have an ID?
Yes, I do.
Can you show us your ID? Perfect. What do you have to say to all the people that say that Black Americans can't get voter ID?
Well, I think it's pretty stupid. Like, we're in a country where all of us are majority educated and we have the resources at our hands and our disposal to easily find these things. So I think anybody saying that is just dumb. Like, that's a really ignorant and stupid thing to say.
Why do you think it's so much harder for Black Americans to obtain voter ID?
It's generally the history of racism. Like, we say we fixed it, but
What?
the system was basically built from the ground up in racism.
Do you think it suppresses?
You are the racism. You are the racism. What do you mean the system was built up? Your beliefs are the racism. I'm not going to call you racist because I don't know you and I don't know any of these students because they're students. But the fact that you're a college kid thinking like this, it is racist. I mean, y'all are the future. We are the future of America, and you are ironically oppressing the same people that you think you're fighting for. This is crazy.
Does the African American vote?
Yes, I do.
Why?
In the past, we've seen.
What was the question?
In racism.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Yes, I do.
Why?
In the past, we've seen, African Americans being given like tests that have nothing to do with what voting is about, just in order to obtain a voting license or voter identification.
So you equate those racist tests where we had to literally test our knowledge or our physical capabilities, where white people didn't have the same test, equivalent to having to have an American issued ID. You believe that those tests that were only required for black people are equivalent to the same rules that all Americans have to have an ID to prove that they're an American? Okay.
So I think that that's something that we're still seeing remnants of today.
So what do you have to say to all the people that say Black Americans can't get voter ID?
I say it's really a lie. It's all on really the person. If the person really want to get their ID, they can go get it. It's nothing really stopping them.
Why do you think it's harder for Black Americans to obtain voter ID?
Well, it's a class issue, and because of systemic racism, it's usually people of color, so Black Americans, who are at the bottom of the socioeconomic classes, which means that they will have the most trouble, like having to pay to go get voter ID law or voter IDs.
You motherfuckers racist as hell. Why the fuck wouldn't black people have that? What's the difference between us and you?
Do you think it's harder for Black Americans to sign up online to get their voter ID?
Harder, not necessarily, but less likely, yes.
Why?
In underfunded communities due to, redlining and gerrymandering, we see that there's lower education in those specific areas, which have a high amount of, minorities. And when you're less educated, you're less likely to vote. And I think that that's what makes it so difficult for people of color to vote.
Seek help. Medical professionals are everywhere.
Y'all need help, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. I tried to be nice. God knows I tried to be nice. Y'all know I'm trying to be nice. But this is crazy to me. Y'all really need to seek help. Like, this is insane. Jesus. I'll see you on the next one. If you have any suggestions, comment down below.